Hello and welcome to our presentation about CSR in the oil and gas sector. This is our agenda, and this is our team consisting of 7 different management and finance students. Starting with the industry overview, the oil and gas or O&G industry is currently undergoing a significant transformation process while the near-term demand for energy continues to rise, especially in emerging markets. The industry's long-term outlook remains uncertain due to the ongoing global energy transition. To remain competitive and improve operational efficiency, companies are facing pressure to innovate and adopt digital technologies. The industry's operations are highly dependent on political stability and favorable policies in different parts of the world. As you can see, the O&G industry face several challenges. In the upcoming years, it will be crucial for companies in the industry to remain adaptable and forward-thinking to overcome these challenges and stay competitive in the market. To go deeper into the oil and gas industry, we conducted a pestle analysis. Oil and gas policy has changed in recent years. A reduced oil production of OPEC member states and a growing CO2 tax in the European Union are raising the price for their products. That leads to a higher revenue for oil exporting countries. Parts of the population in several countries are against the further use of oil because of its impact on the environment. Through more efficient technologies, companies in the industry have been able to become safer, more efficient, and more sustainable. In recent years, more environmental legislation of the O&G industry started to force companies like Shell and Repsol to be more sustainable. In the future, extreme weather events will increase and become more and more intense, where oil and gas are reliable sources of energy but have negative impact on the environment.
Next, we have 2 examples out of this industry, a bad and a good example. We would start with the bad example, Shell, and we use the flourishing business canvas to assess their business activities in special regards to their CSR practices. Since it is a bad example, we want to highlight some value code instructions as well as how they destroy some ecosystem services through their activities. First of all, through their production, they have a lot of big climate change impact, as well as human rights violations. Moreover, to people living close to the production sites, they have health impacts through air pollution, which can lead to respiratory and other health problems. In regards to destroying some ecosystem services, they, as mentioned before, have a lot of air pollution, and they leak toxic substances in the water that is close to the deep water oil rigs. Moreover, to create production sites, they have a lot of wildlife destruction, as well as the hurt of communities because they reduce tourism in those areas.
So, as we have already learned about Shell's business model, there's a considerably long list of negative actions towards common CSR goals by Shell. So only 1.5% of the capital expenditure Shell has every year is actually committed toward renewable energies, even though they cite 12% to be for renewable energy sources in their annual report. There's a lot of greenwashing in that because 10.5% actually go into natural gas, which is considered a fossil fuel. So in addition, there's a long list of leak of toxic substances, which mainly occurred in the third world. And due to this, there's low security measures and the compensation for the people affected by these spills is considerably low. What is actually a real stunning number and should stand out is that 1.6% of the carbon budget that is totally available for the world until 2030 in order to meet the Paris goals is blocked for Shell's activities its own. So just to compare that, this is similar to a medium-sized country like Germany. Nevertheless, 20% of the executive bonus of Shell are collected to CSR-related topics, 10% going into safety, whereas 10% account for like environmental CO2 reduction emissions. So even though Shell has developed a clear plan on how they want to reduce emissions and reduce their negative impact onto the world, we cluster that into the environmental impact, the human rights violations, the corruption allegations, and labor abuses. And only in recent times, we have found a lot of proofs of how bad Shell actually did in these wells. Just to give you 3 examples, Bodo spills in 2008, a huge thing, again, talking about third world in 1990s in Nigeria. 2017, there was a conviction of a bribery scheme worth $1.1 billion. And in 2019, there were violations against Nigerian contract workers, again in the third world, where compensation for these abuses are very low. So overall, I think we can all agree Shell doesn't do good. And let's have a look onto the good example.
So as with Shell, we use the Flourishing Business Canvas to analyze the CSR practices of Repsol. And here are a few insights from the research we gathered. Repsol is an energy company committed to creating sustainable value through innovation, efficiency, and respect. With a goal to achieve net zero emissions by 2050, Repsol's strategic plan outlines their focus on carbon neutrality, circular economy, renewable energy, energy efficiency, and digital transformation. The company aims to deliver dependable energy production while minimizing their impact on the environment through efficient water and waste management, biodiversity protection, and sustainable community development. The company values ethical behaviors like transparency, stakeholder engagement, and integrity while prioritizing a safe work environment through effective risk management. Despite the benefits of its ESG policy, Repsol acknowledges the environmental, social, and economic costs of their activities, including climate change, direct and indirect emissions, and health and safety risks.
Repsol is committed to making a positive impact through a range of initiatives, which include reducing climate change, promoting human rights, and addressing deforestation. In terms of reducing climate change, Repsol is investing in low-carbon projects and has set a goal to achieve the lowest carbon intensity by 2025. The main goal of this decarbonization path is to become a net zero emissions company by 2050. It is also focused on promoting a circular economy, which involves reducing waste and increasing the reuse and recycling of materials. The company has over 300 initiatives and is committed to using the most innovative technology to achieve this goal. Additionally, the company is committed to promoting human rights and social development with its human rights policy and ensures that all of its suppliers meet strict ESG criteria. Overall, by investing in these initiatives, Repsol is not only improving its own operations, but also setting an example for other companies to follow.
Talking about controversies, Repsol has faced several setbacks in the recent past as it tried to balance progress and responsibility. Repsol has been accused of contributing to environmental degradation in different parts of the world, for example, one of the worst ecological disasters in history of Peru. Secondly, Repsol has been criticized for violating the human rights of indigenous communities and other vulnerable groups in South America. Thirdly, Repsol has been accused and fined for corruption in various countries. Repsol was part of a major corruption scandal in Brazil involving kickbacks and bribes in exchange for contracts with a state-owned oil company. Lastly, Repsol has been accused of violating labor rights in various countries, including Libya, and faced criticism for labor abuses during the Gaddafi regime. In conclusion, Repsol's commitment to sustainability and its effort to address these challenges are a positive step forward. However, the company still faced controversies related to its impact on the environment and society in recent past.
When comparing the two companies, Shell and Repsol, starting by Shell, we see that they have, according to researchers, Shell actively supported lobby groups that denied the human-made impact on climate change. While on the other hand, Repsol meets all ambitious targets with their decarbonization strategy. Regarding chemical spills, Shell has been responsible for over 30 publicly known chemical spills, harming hundreds of thousands of lives. While Repsol has also had its share of oil spills, such as the Callao spill, due to negligence of Repsol. Regarding investment in renewables, major investments have been made by Shell. However, the main reason is shareholder value, not the goal to reach climate neutrality. Regarding Repsol, they invest over 35% of their capital expenditure into low carbon emissions, being the first company in the sector to fully endorse the Kyoto Protocol.
What we can take away is that Shell and Repsol are two major players in the energy industry, and their approaches to corporate social responsibility reflect their different priorities. For instance, while Shell is mainly focused on shareholder return, Repsol mainly prioritizes stakeholder value. Regarding ESG matters, Shell has a poor track record on sustainability, while Repsol has committed to a comprehensive sustainability strategy. Finally, the last key takeaway is that the energy sector is challenging to transform, given the persistent demand for cheap energy that often comes from neglected regions of the world.
So thank you for your time and attention. I hope you found this presentation informative and engaging. Thank you again and have a great day in the name of our group.